on the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again, going places that I've never been.
Hello YouTubers, it's me, Michael Brewer, your friendly neighborhood gay guru, reporting to you once more from the beautiful shores of the island of Bali in the Indian Ocean. This morning I'd like to talk to you about something that may be a little less chipper than other topics I've discussed, but it need not be. Last night I learned that my brother-in-law, Tim, died. He left his body, or as in New Age terminology, he transitioned to the non-physical, or to put it as Abraham Hicks would like to say, he croaked. He was around my age, a couple years older, and so of course that has an impact on one when you think that people of your own generation start to pass on. We make such a big hairy deal about death in our society, in our Western society. And I'd like to contrast that to how death is approached here on Bali and Hindu society in general. The Balinese are always celebrating something. There's a festival for just about everything, starting with the moment you're born or even in the birth canal to within 3 months, and birthdays and name days and spirit days. And it seems you're either cleaning up after a festival or preparing for one, for the next one, and for another ceremony. And their life here appear to be one never-ending series of celebrations and ceremonies and devotions and rituals to their belief system, to their system of gods and deities. As opposed to us in the West, most of us, or so many of us, lead very, very secular lives and only come to think about things beyond this material world at times of birth and perhaps at times of death or on specific holidays. But in the predominant portion of our daily lives, we really don't think about it all that much. No, people do, some people do, but the majority of the people really don't live a very spiritual life, certainly not in comparison to the Balinese, who really live their spirituality on a daily and a moment-to-moment basis. We may be a lot more physically and materially and monetarily wealthy, but I've got to, after spending time here, and this is not my first time here, they are certainly a lot more spiritually wealthy than we are. But that's getting off the subject. The subject here is the passing of my brother-in-law and dying and death and dying. Of course, here in Bali, as Hindus, they believe in reincarnation, and that if you die and when you leave this body, you reincarnate. Rather, that means you are born again into another body, generally within the same family. And so most Balinese, if you ask them and get to know them well enough, will tell you that they were their grandfather or great-grandfather or some aunt or uncle in a former life. And they know fully well that when they pass, they will come back as their descendants. That's probably an odd concept to many people in the West, but I personally also believe in reincarnation. I think one thing is to discuss is the purpose for it. In the Hindu tradition, they believe that we are here to learn and to evolve. And with each passing life, each time we come into a physical being, we have certain things and certain tasks to learn, so that we move up. There's like a scale of manifestation, a scale of physical being. each life, from the lowliest, what they call them, castes, to the highest caste, the Brahmins, or even it's a series of animals. They believe that if you're an evildoer, criminal, and do harm to others, you may come back as a dog, which to them is a rather low form of life. Personally, I'm not sure that's the reason. Of course, it's sitting here in this meat casing I call a body. I can't know that for sure. I guess I'll find out someday. I think that we are here because it's like the e-ticket of creation, the e-ticket of being. Like it's just the best ride in town. If on the non-physical plane, everything's the same. There's no contrast. It's just beautiful. It's lotus flowers and beautiful music and singing and worshiping the one light and having a great time. Whereas here on this plane, it's an ocean of contrasts. There's always duality and good and bad and happy and sad and healthy and unhealthy, and for just about anything you can name, there's going to be an opposite and opposing condition or quality. That may seem bothersome to us, especially if you're experiencing the negative side of things, but actually it's a wonderful game, because when you experience the negative or what you don't want, desire is created, and you can let in manifestation for what you do want. And so it's like it's to them, to us, when we're in the non-physical plane, this seems like a great game. And I personally think that we wait online. We can't wait to get back into these physical bodies, and it really doesn't matter what condition, whether you're a street beggar in Calcutta or you're Donald Trump living in a penthouse in Manhattan. It's just all a wonderful game. This whole physicality, this bodiness, these amazing instruments into which we're born now, we call bodies. I mean, they're just such a wonder of creation, that it all works and it all functions as well and as long as it does. And all the wonders of sex and of eating and of making love and of singing and dancing and making art. And friends and good times and jokes and music. There's just so much in this physical existence that is just so incredible and so desirable that I'm quite sure that once we get on the other side, maybe we hang out there for a while and enjoy that non-physical space and maybe take a rest. But that after a while we're raring to go, to come right back into this life, and no matter what condition we may be, to enjoy it and to the pleasure of it, and just the sheer fun of the game. So I have no fear of death. And I don't think the Balinese really do either, because their greatest celebrations are their cremations. And they're just wondrous. Behold, behind me you'll see some images of cremation I attended in the past, and it's the biggest celebration that they hold, because they see that as a release from this physical form, going back into non-physical, and a celebration. Well, they believe that if you evolve high enough that you don't come back, that the wheel of life, you get off, they call it the wheel of life, and you get off the wheel of life and you just stay at the feet of the gods, and in the land of milk and honey and lotus and wonderful nirvana. Personally, I think that nirvana is to be found here. It's there on the non-physical of two, but also can be found here when one reconciles this life of contrast and reconciles the duality of this existence, and recognizes that it's all good, even the things that we think are non-deservable, even the things that we think are bad. There's a silver lining, there's a positive side to all of that too. And once we reconcile to ourselves to that, our energy shifts, your vibration inside you shifts, and you start, first of all, attracting differently, and so you attract a lot less of that negative contrast and a lot more of that positive, wondrous side of life. And when the things do happen, that are less than one desires. You see them for what they are, a message, something that you attracted, something that you brought into your life to show you that this isn't what you want, and to create that whole wondrous machinery of desire and matching yourself, becoming a match to what you desire, and then letting it in, and then letting it manifest, that whole power, law of attraction machinery that Abraham Hicks describes so wonderfully, and that it's all good. It's all good, even the death of your spouse, where in the moment, of course, you miss that person and you're sad, and that's part of it. I'm not saying there's not a space for sadness to be experienced in the passing of a loved one. Of course there is. You miss that body, you miss that physicality of that person, you miss the time you spent with them in physical form. But eventually healing does come in, and eventually that opens up a new space for a new love to come into your life, a new era and a new experience. And if you, my beloved sister Debbie, are watching this, I hope that you too will come to a space where you realize this, and I trust you will. And so I guess to wrap this up now, here in the beautiful island of Bali, don't be afraid of croaking. And don't be afraid of your loved ones going, because we all will. We're all here for just a short ride on the e-ticket of life in these meat casings we call bodies. And the good news is that this is not the reality of who we are. We are so much vaster than this, what you see here now. As beautiful as this physical realm is, that you even see behind me with the Mount Agong and the beautiful pavilion, and the clouds and the wonderful ceremonies and beauty and art of life, it's really, like the Hindu says, it's an illusion. It's all a bunch of subatomic particles coming together in specific crystallized patterns to form the illusion of physical reality, which we gently mold, consciously or unconsciously, with our thoughts and thinking and emotional patterns. And when you get to that point where you realize that and you're conscious of that on a moment-to-moment basis, life becomes really fine, and life becomes a joy to live, and death becomes no longer a big, scary, hairy monster, but just another part of life, another time to cash in our chips and go hang out in the lounge for a while, and then come back in a new form, and to start all over again. And that's not to be feared, that's to be celebrated. And so I celebrate you, my dear brother-in-law Tim, in your passing into another life. You were sick for quite a long time, and you weren't particularly happy in your physical form. And I know that where you are now, you're reclaiming who you truly are, of which you may not have been aware while you were here in this form. And I know that when you've reawoken in that space, you'll find a lot of joy. You'll reclaim also the joy that automatically comes with being one with your inner being. And I know that you'll be back again. Maybe we'll meet again, maybe we won't. It really doesn't matter, because we're all one and we're all connected. And wherever you may be out in the world, I wish you wonderful lives. I wish you all lots of joy and a manifestation of your desires and peace. Namaste. Om Swastiyanti. Om Santi Santi.